And we're back here on Skyhawk Sports Talk. Gregory here in Zaxby's here in Martin, Tennessee. Ready for another episode and just football, men's basketball, and women's basketball going on right now. Big day for football, though. Today we're going to have Jaylon, Sharpe, Chris Hunter, Tevin, Shipp, and Jason Simpson joining us to discuss the playoff victory. Also, those three guys, their historic careers here at UT Martin. No Chris today, and I will be the lone host, so that's who you'll have to bear with today. But going into this week in Skyhawk Athletics for you all, football at number 1 Montana State at 2 p.m. on Saturday. That will be on ESPN Plus and the Skyhawk Sports Network, as that is the second round of the FCS playoffs. Men's basketball will be at Charleston Southern at 6:30 p.m. on ESPN Plus on Tuesday. That will end a 6-game stretch that has taken UT Martin through 5 different states, and then they'll come back home and face Montreat at 4 p.m. on Saturday. And then, last but certainly not least, women's basketball at Butler at 6 p.m. on ESPN Plus, and that will be on Thursday. So just football, men's basketball, women's basketball going on this week, and we've got a bunch of football to talk about here on Skyhawk Sports Talk. We'll go ahead and take a break, and when we come back, we'll go ahead and start our program. Keep it right here on Skyhawk Sports Talk.
If I quit this season, I still be the greatest.
Skyhawk Sports Talk podcast is brought to you by Weekly Ford Nissan.
And welcome back to Skyhawk Sports Talk. Gregory here with me, starting linebacker for the UT Martin football team. Tevin, Shipp, graduate from Smyrna, Tennessee. First of all, how do you say it? Smyrna?
Yeah.
Okay, I've heard a lot of people say Smyrna or the pronunciations. I've always said Smyrna.
Yeah,
That's
Smyrna.
how
You're saying it right.
Okay, good. Well, thanks so much for coming on, Tev. Appreciate your time as always. A big win this past Saturday. Huge win to be able to get that first round underneath your belt. And not just getting underneath your belt, I mean, completely dominate in that game. Really great performance from you all.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely, we just wanted to go up there and we wanted to kind of make a statement, set the tone. First round of playoffs. It's been a couple years since we've been back, so we definitely wanted to start this playoff run right.
And so now, I mean, Montana State coming up, the number 1 team in the country. Just going to look at right now for the moment. We'll get to your career here in a second. But right now, number 1 team in the country, and I know that Montana State, they get the number 1 overall seed, and they're thinking, okay, normally get easier opponents to come up. But I would think that they kind of saw the score from Saturday and go, oh, okay.
Yeah, definitely.
We got somebody coming in that has some skill and has some good depth at every single position.
Definitely. I hope that's what they see on film. Us as a defense, I know we're thinking, hey, this is the game for us because I think they average 300 yards rushing, 200 yards in the air. Their quarterback's a dual threat. He's been there since the first time we played him, so it's kind of a full circle thing for us. But we definitely we like the challenge, and I think I like our matchup against them.
And so walk on to start your career back in 2019. We'll go from there and work our way up. What made the decision there to come on and walk on to this program?
You know what's crazy is I always joke with Simp. I actually came up to a camp up here because Michigan, a couple bigger schools were up here, and I remember driving out in the middle of nowhere, and I was like, Mom, I'm never going there. I'm never going there. And I actually had an injury my senior year, and so I lost a lot of my offers and stuff. But I came on a visit up here back when Hankins was here and Polizzi, and then I met with them in Simp, and they said this is a good situation to walk on to. And after that, it was history. I walked up here. I've loved it since. I've enjoyed the team. I've enjoyed the coaches. So.
And now 6th year with the program. I'd say you liked it pretty much. What helped you settle in here? Because I know Smyrna is about, 3 hours, 2 hours away.
About 3, yeah.
I mean, you could go home on a weekend, but obviously during football season you can't. So what made it a part to settle in here and truly make this your home?
A lot of people on the team like to say Martin is a family, because you got to think there's nothing out here. So we spend a lot of time together, and it really is a family. When I first got here, I didn't really, as a walk-on, I kind of felt different from the team. I didn't really talk to a lot of people, but we definitely, during that camp cycle, it became a family. I got out of my shell, got to talking to people. I can say I can contribute that to the team, the coaches, the players, and it just feels like home away from home now.
And Coach Simpson, you brought him up. He's been here 19 seasons. You've been here with him for 6. What's that relationship like with Simp?
When I first got here, I didn't know if Simp really knew who I was at first, but throughout the years, I've kind of developed into a leader, and I'm able to walk into his office and talk to him when I need to him, or if he needs me to say something to the team, he'll definitely he'll grab me and stuff. So it's definitely a good relationship between the coaches and us.
And you mentioned Coach Hankins, now at Memphis, defensive coordinator there. Chris Polizzi was here for a couple years, and then now Brandon Butcher, the defensive coordinator. I know Butch was the linebackers coach too. What's your relationship with him like, and just working with his philosophy on defense as he puts a spin on things?
You know, no disrespect to my other coaches, because Coach P's coached me, Coach Hankins coached me, but Butch has probably been one of my favorites. He's definitely taught me a lot about ball and just the way he thinks. He's probably one of the smarter coaches I've ever worked with, and it helps. I think he helps build my mentality and my understanding of the game for sure.
And we'll go back to high school for you, Smyrna High School. And so when did you kind of figure out, okay, I know it's the injury in senior year, but you thought, okay, I think I could play Division I college football. Was there a moment or a game, or did it just progress over time?
Well, the thing is, I played varsity as a freshman, but I was like 140. I was real small, playing DN, and being moved up and being able to make a play in the game as a freshman, that kind of made me realize, okay, I can really do this. I can play with bigger guys. And then my junior year, I had a great season. Was a region defensive MVP. So I was like, okay, it's starting to get real. Like, I could really do this. And then obviously an injury happened, but I was going to actually walk on to Bethel first. And after getting up here, I was like, nah, I know I can play D1. I know I can do it. And I'm glad I made that decision.
And all OVC first team for the first time this season. Congratulations on that. 77 tackles, 5.5 for a loss. And what was crazy to me was the SEMO game last year. That was your first career sack.
Yeah.
If you had told me how many sacks does Tevin have, I would probably say I'm going to go probably 5, 6. He's probably had a couple, but really it's just that one. But then you've added on some more here in this season. And then, of course, the interceptions. And whenever Chris gets here, I got to talk to him because you and Jaylon both have the pick 6.
Yeah.
He has the most interceptions.
No touchdowns.
No touchdowns for him. You've had 4 interceptions in your career, and 3 of them have been pick 6s. But going into this year first, what has been clicking for you all and the linebackers? I know that this has been one of the best groups in the country, really.
Yeah, for sure. And that's what we say, too. We are, like, that's what we truly believe. If you go to any school, FBS, FCS, our linebacker core is the best core in the nation. And, I think a lot of it stemmed from this off-season work. A lot of the boys, because a lot of us didn't like what we put on film last year. So we were like, hey, we got to get in there and we got to do better than what we were doing last year. And I think it definitely stands out to all 3 of us that, hey, we're out there and we're making plays for the team. So.
And I know in the journey for you, and then I'm bringing it up to Chris and Jaylon when we have them on too. I mean, you and Chris both spent some time really on special teams and behind John Ford, Rob Hicks, and then TJ Neal too. What'd you learn from those guys? Because at the moment, you all had to be patient and wait your turn.
Yeah.
And really last year was the first year that you all got to truly start.
And it definitely, John, we always joke around, John and Rob, we call them Skyhawk legends. We always mess around with like Skyhawk legends, but those boys definitely gave us a work ethic, and being behind them and really understanding the game and how fast paced it is and how different it is than practice. Definitely watching them helped develop our game.
54 games for you over 6. Does it feel like 54 games?
It doesn't. It doesn't feel like I've been playing that many games, but it's kind of crazy hearing it out loud.
So 54 career games played. I think you're about 5 tackles shy of 200 for your career, so quite an accomplishment there. But again, back to the interceptions, 3 of them pick 6s. I mean, I feel like every single time the ball finds you, it's just I look ahead in the press box and I go, oh, my gosh, there's another lane for Tevin to go and score. So is it just like, oh, you've got such great ball carrier vision, or is it just like that's the way that things kind of open up for you?
See, I want to say I have great ball carrier vision, but the one pick that I didn't score, if you look at the film, if you go right,
you were going to score.
Everyone was on me. Everyone was on me when I got to the sideline, like, Shipp, go right, Shipp, go right. I'm like, dude, I'm running behind y'all. So it all depends on how it plays out. Sometimes I want to follow the blocks, and sometimes I'm like, okay, I have a window I might be able to hit. So it just depends on how it plays out.
I know Cheeks was probably one of the first guys that was like, dude, what the heck? What
are you looking at? You can't play running back. I'm like, yeah, I know. That's not me.
But then I think someone had said on the they said on the broadcast, it was either at New Hampshire or it was one previously, and they go, oh, wow, they need to give Tevin the ball more on offense. This guy's scored all the time. He's got good hands.
I joke with Simp. I'm like, Simp, I can play tight end now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you haven't noticed, if I touch the ball, I get points. So put me at tight end. So I joke all the time about
you have 3 catches, or you have 4 catches and 3 touchdowns.
3 touchdowns.
That's a good percentage. I mean, Coach Simpson also a math guy too.
I was trying to tell Coach you might have to sneak me in there a couple times.
He knows the numbers. He knows the numbers. I want to talk about the interceptions this year. So I think it's 19 is the total. Yeah, 19 is the total. Tied for 3rd nationally. Linebackers have 9 picks. I know we talked about that
10.
before, but 10.
We have 10.
10.
Jay Sharpe made it 10 2 weeks ago.
Oh, yeah.
Yep,
Made it
yep.
10. Correct. So now 10 interceptions of the 19. I don't know if you knew this, but last year you all had 9 total.
We was actually
between
talking
the
about it
entire
today.
defense.
We was talking about it today. We was like, turnovers have been a huge emphasis this year, and even in forced fumbles. Like, we might not have recovered everything this year, but we've got to the ball a lot more, and I think that changes the game a lot.
And when people look at that stat, they think linebackers got, Chris got 5 interceptions. What in the world? And you've got as many as you have, and then Jaylon's got the 2, and you're thinking, what in the world? You look at the total stats. Oh my gosh, they've got over half of the interception. Is that kind of in that mentality that Coach Butcher is telling you all, like, hey, when Jaylon blitzes here, Jaylon's spying, then Tevin, Chris, you guys go out in your zone and make sure that you look for this and that, or what's kind of the mentality that he's coaching you up on?
It's definitely been something that he's preached more is just find the route. You know what I'm saying? Because even with Jay Sharpe's interception, this last one, I went to go pull up the quarterback, and the first thing he did was look, and he seen the running back fade, and immediately he knew where the ball was going. So it's definitely been something that he's preached up is find those routes, find where they're sitting, and go grab the ball.
And you played in a lot of stadiums now. You played in Neyland, you've played at Kansas State, and then Kennesaw State and FBS school, and then Montana State too. What's your favorite stadium you've ever played in?
Oh, man. Between the Hedges was great.
Yeah,
Kansas
Georgia.
State was great. But I'm not gonna lie, Neyland State, and it was also their homecoming too.
Right.
But Neyland Stadium was rocking. That was a crazy state. But the thing is, Montana State for FCS, I think it can compare with a lot of those stadiums as well. It's the fan base is great, and it's great energy.
Well, Eddie George at Tennessee State had just said that stadium in Montana is about as good as anybody else in the country in terms of noise. And I know Montana State, they're going to have it packed out,
for
and
sure.
it's going to be a pretty rowdy group. So going back to Coach Simpson, I know you've spent a lot of time with him, being around him a lot. But what's your favorite Coach Simpson saying? It can be something funny. It can be something just honest and real.
Recently, I liked when after we had lost a tough game to Tech, because sometimes he'll take sayings from like movies and stuff like that. He said there is no tomorrow, like there's only today. And as a senior, it kind of really resonated with me. I was like, wow, like especially in that last game because we didn't know for sure if we were going to make the playoffs, and it was just give all you have on that Saturday, every practice, every day, because you have no clue when it's going to be your last. So that's something that's really heartfelt to me that I felt when he brought it up.
Yeah, plans after college here, because I know that probably once the season ends, you've already graduated. Yeah. So what are we doing once football season ends?
So definitely graduated. Then I got my master's this summer. So after this season ends, I know I'm gonna walk the stage December 13th. Graduate again. After that, I definitely plan on training either. I don't know where I'm training yet. There's definitely been some places, but I want to train. I want to see what I can do with the NFL. We got some old coaches that coach on the Titans and stuff like that. That's home for me. So I definitely want to see what I can do and see if I can get in that league.
And going back to 2019, if you could tell freshman Tevin anything at all, what would it be?
Man, anything. I would definitely tell myself just stay down and go to work, because I definitely did that, but there's definitely always more that you can do. So and I realized that as I got older, but I was putting in extra work, but there's ways to do it. There's right ways to do it, and there's techniques and stuff to doing it. And I definitely would probably tell him, hey, like you can start it earlier, regardless if you're a walk-on, regardless of what your role is. You can start it earlier and you can develop faster. But enjoy the moments too, and because even though it's been 6 years for me and I'm kind of old on the team, they call me Unk and all this other stuff, but it goes by fast. So enjoy it.
And if you had to tell someone, new freshman coming in or a transfer that's thinking about coming here to UT Martin, what would you say what it means to be a UT Martin football player and put that UTM helmet on every single day?
I would say every transfer that I've talked to, every young guy that I've talked to, they'll always say, hey, like, I've come from different teams. I've come from bigger teams. I've came from a smaller team. And something about Martin is it is family. This is a relationship that you will build with the coaches, the team, and it'll always be there. Like, I'll probably be here in the spring just to see those boys. I know this is a family. So when you put on that stuff Saturday, we do our little chant that we always do, and we mean that. So this is family. So definitely, if you're looking for somewhere where you can focus on ball, there's not a lot of distractions, you want someone who's going to be there for you, who you can talk to, who can help develop you, Martin is definitely the place to go.
And I mean, it's a true brotherhood between you all and the entire team. as well. Going back to your game in college now, when did you feel like you took a jump in terms of your play and your game overall?
So like you said, my last year was my first actual time starting, and even then I didn't feel like I took a huge jump. Like I always felt like I was a good player, a decent player. I could do my role. But after last year, I had a couple of I left a couple plays out there. I can admit that, and I was upset about it. And shout out Sharpe, shout out C Hunt. They were like, dude, like you can do this. Like you can play this role. You can be a great player. And I would say, because spring ball ended up messing my shoulder, I was kind of hurt. I would say summertime actually. So just before this season, summertime, summer camp, I think that's when I really took a deep step into becoming the player I am right now.
And we call you all the big three, you and Jaylon and Chris. What's that relationship been like with those guys?
Man, it's been great. So like I don't know if you remember Fufu.
Yes, Takari Stevens.
I had, you feel me? That was like a big brother to me. Then I had John, and I was always close with all of them. But like this three right here, these are real deal brothers. Like I'm gonna check up on them 40 years down the road. Like I'm gonna make sure I stay in contact with them. These are real life brothers.
So as you all get ready, Montana State coming up here before we let you go, what's the mindset going into this week? Because I know playoff football, and I always talked about it in terms of whenever I covered high school, is that it's so hard to go out there. And if you go down early, you start thinking, you don't want to think it, but you start thinking, oh, man, like this might be it. But you can't get into that desperation mode. And what's going to be the mindset this week as you all get ready for Montana State?
Like I said, for defense, we feel like this is the game we've been waiting for all season to really prove that, hey, this defense is real. Because like you said, we're top in interceptions and this and that and stat-wise, but I feel like a lot of people kind of downlook it because we're in the OVC. So playing the number one team in the nation, I feel like defense is ready to step up. Offense these last couple of weeks have been rolling. You know what I'm saying? Ruck, Tank, Kincaid had a great game last week. So as long as that keeps rolling and the defense keeps rolling, I feel like our mindset is we're going to go win. We want to keep dancing. We want to keep going in the dance. And the mindset is there is no tomorrow. It is only today. So we're going to keep doing it. We'll keep attacking this week like that.
Well, Tevin, appreciate your time. Thanks so much for coming on and joining us here today. Good luck on Saturday.
All right, appreciate you.
We'll go ahead and take a break. When we come back, Chris Hunter will join us here from the UT Martin football team as we take a break on Skyhawk Sports Talk.
If I quit this season, I still be the greatest.
Skyhawk Sports Talk podcast is brought to you by Weekly Ford Nissan.
And we're back here on Skyhawk Sports Talk. Davis Gregory here. Now joining me another part of the linebacker big three for UT Martin, Chris Hunter from Knoxville, Tennessee, 865, representing on the show today.
Yes,
Love
sir.
to always get Chris on. Chris, how are we doing today?
Doing good, man. Blessed to be here.
Yeah, thanks for coming on here. I know this is going to be a busy week for you all and travel and everything like that, so appreciate your time as always.
Nah, for sure. Thank you for having me on.
So, been with the program since 2019. I was actually telling somebody, you and I were in the same gins class together back at UTM.
First year.
So, your sixth year here with the program, been here a minute. And I guess start out first here as a freshman and now jumping now into senior year. And what's been one of the biggest things that you've learned here in your game and just personally?
Personally, I never thought I'd be in Martin, Tennessee for 6 years. So just learning who I am, growing, not having a lot of things to do, being able to stay disciplined, just keeping the main thing. That's the biggest thing that I've learned for being here 6 years. Just keeping the main thing, being where your feet are at, and, your time will come and things will, eventually turn. Playing-wise, I've learned how to fight through adversity, just not having things go my way and exactly how I planned and envisioned things to go out, and just rolling with the punches and being able to fight back and being able to make way with anything that comes my way. So that's the biggest thing I feel like I've learned personally and on the field, just being able to fight through those adversities and challenges.
And you bring up adversity. I want to go back to after the Charleston Southern game, SEMO had ended up losing to Lindenwood, and it looked like, okay, win 2 more games, and we're 100% in. There's no doubt about it. And then Tennessee Tech comes in, and they put together a great game plan, credit to them. And at that point in time, a lot of us probably thought, man, that might have been it. But then get Lindenwood, beat them in overtime, and then Selection Sunday, you see your name. And what did you feel, I guess, really a roller coaster of those 3 weeks of the end of the Tennessee Tech game to then Selection Sunday, you see your name pop up for the first time since 2021.
Yeah, shout out Tennessee Tech. They came in here and played hard, had a good game plan, and really humbled us. We kind of looked past, once we saw SEMO lost, we like, okay, we control our destiny. We got 2 games. We win. We're in. And we kind of just got bored with the process, kind of just trying to get to the game so we can be the conference champions and not just doing what it takes Monday through Friday, really through Saturday, to be able to do what it takes to be able to win a game. So it was definitely like a big up and down. But that's kind of how our season has been. You know what I'm saying? Like we started off slow and then we picked it up together, got some things going, and then, we kind of laid an egg against Tennessee Tech, and we just went in the Lindenwood. We was like, if this is it, then this is it. But we're gonna go out with a bang, and we made it a little harder than what it is. But once you get in those playoffs, like I've been there before, and I knew, once we get in, it's a whole nother season. It's everybody's 0-0, and anything can happen. So it was definitely a tough time, losing to Tennessee Tech. But I really think that looking back on it after this year, we'll be like, dang, that kind of what really woke us up and really what made us go, So.
And get the second playoff win ever in
Yeah,
program
exactly,
history this past weekend against New Hampshire. A dominating performance in that one, 41-10. And did you all feel like, I know that the past 2 years it's been frustrating. In 2022, the coin flip, 23, and then you probably should have gotten in there. And then now you see your name pop up. Did you all feel like that in that game there was a statement made about UT Martin football, like, hey, we can go up there and we can play those teams and we can compete and we deserve to be in these playoffs if there's a question about it?
No, yeah, 100%. Like, we kind of understood, and that's why after we lost Tennessee Tech, it was such a low, because we was like, like 8 wins is just not going to be enough to be able to get UT Martin in, just because people don't really respect our league and the quality opponents that we actually play. So whenever we saw our names on that board, it was just a gratifying feeling of not be like shocked that we made it, but it's just like we get the opportunity,
right?
And that's all you can ask for, is just the opportunity to go out there and be able to showcase what we know that we're capable of. So that's really seeing our name on the board, and it was just that gratifying feeling of, okay, we really get to go on a national stage and show everybody what we already know, and that's what we did the first round.
It's a good football team. That's what it is.
Exactly.
And you went and beat a really good football team at their place. Want to get into that game. Defensively, I mean, just smothered them completely. Offense did their thing as well. How do you all be able to bounce off of each other in terms of offense bouncing off defense's momentum and defense bouncing off the offense as well?
That's what football is, man. It's complementary football, and whenever they're struggling, we have to pick up their slack. And whenever we're struggling, they have to pick up our slack. And special teams as well. We're continually we're trying to find that game of where special teams, offense, and defense, we're all three just rolling. And I still think we're chasing it. I still don't think that that last game we played the best that we could play on all phases. I still think there's more left in the tank. There's more room to grow, and that's the exciting part, because it's 41-10. So if we still got more room to grow, what I'm saying, there's no limit to what we can do this year. So I'm really excited about it. I love our team. I love the way we're going, and we're dangerous. We're dangerous.
And we'll wait to talk about Montana State here in a second. Want to go to the season for you, all conference. Second team, despite leading the OVC in interceptions. Just going to leave it at that. But anyway, listen, proved them wrong there in that next game and got the win there in the playoffs. But we'll leave that discussion for another day. Yeah. Anywho, 5 interceptions for you this year. That's top 10 in the country, and that is the most anyone has had at UT Martin since 2003. I don't know if you know that, but
I did not know that.
It's been an impressive season for you. I joked with Tevin. I'm going to tell Jaylon about it. Jaylon's got 2. Tevin's got 3 this year. You've got 5, but they've got touchdowns. How does that work?
Well, they're on my head about it. With the season not over, so we're still working. We're still working for that touchdown. But it's just the competitive nature between all of us. Like, nobody is more critical of us than us. You know what I'm saying? We could tell each other anything. If any of us are not playing to the capabilities that we know we can, we can hold each other accountable. And they mess with me all the time, like, dude, you have to score a touchdown. You know what I'm saying? You got 5 picks, you ain't getting in the end zone, and them boys got pick 6s. So they're pushing me, man. They're trying to get me in there. Hopefully it happens this week.
So I feel like their interceptions, Jaylon's that went for a pick 6, it went to the check down route, and then it was just like, all right, well, nobody's going to catch him at all because they had all the receivers downfield. Tevin's, he was kind of going in motion against North Alabama, and as he came over and crossed the middle of the field, he already had speed going that way. I feel like yours have just kind of been like, oh, there it is, and then there's not much to do with it after that.
That's what I've been trying to say, but they're not really trying to hear that. They want me to get in the box, so that's what I got to do. I need to start by maybe not catching them 90 yards away from the end zone.
Right.
But, you know, hey, it's all right, man.
And sometimes the ball gets thrown to you that way.
That's
and
how
you
it
gotta do
happens.
it.
And at the end of the day, I appreciate all my interceptions. So, hey.
Hey, all
it's
5
all-
of them.
It's all good. It's all good, man. We just out here trying to just do anything that we can to win. And that's really the big thing of how it came up because – you know, you need those touchdowns. If you can score a defensive touchdown, that is huge. So that's just us trying to find that little edge to make us go to that next step. You know, instead of just getting a turnover, make sure you score it. So that's just us trying to be great.
Yeah, and so going now to the interception seriously, though, I mean, I feel like last year's when I started noticing, like, wow, Chris has really got, like, an eye for the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's starting to read routes better. What do you feel like has clicked this year?
Yeah, like I'm me, Sharpe, and Shipp, like we watch film to a T. Like we and our coach Butch, smartest mind in the world. You know, so like defensively, like he puts us in such great positions. If you just go out there and do your job, you know, the plays will come to you. So when I'm studying film and I'm just kind of watching the quarterbacks and Coach Butch giving me tendencies and formations, and we all study that, and it's kind. You really just got to wait for that one play that you studied on film all week, and it may only come this one time, and whenever it comes, you got to make it, you know. So that's what I try to do. I try to be able to play those study concepts and being able to, you know, sometimes you just got to have that instinct, but I honestly, some of them, you know, it's like me studying film. Some of them are just, you know, being at the right place at the right time, finding the ball just finds me, and it all plays in together with the D-line getting pressure on the quarterback and hitting him, and then he throws it to me, and then my DB's covering behind me, having sticky coverage, and then he try to forces it, and then I jump in front. So it's all 3 levels and the coaching staff and me doing film work, and it all goes together.
And so now getting into your career again, 6th year here, you transferred in from Army Prep.
Mm-hmm.
What was your time like there like? Because I've heard stories from Coach Simpson, and now I want to hear it. I want you to tell our fans what that was like at Army Prep.
Yeah, Army Prep was an experience. It was an experience, is what I can say. It was an experience, and it's something that I don't regret. It didn't work out, but I don't regret it at all. It shaped me in the man I am today. I went through a lot of adversity, and then coming from here, it was just more adversity that I had to fight, and it kind of shaped me to be able to do what I did here and be able to stay here for 6 years and not transfer and hit the portal and just being able to keep fighting. It was an adjustment, and I'm still cool with everybody that I went to Army Prep with. The people know it was definitely rough for me. If you know me, Army is probably not what you would describe as, you know, the perfect fit for Chris Hunter, but man, everything has for a reason, and God put me there for a reason, and it helped me to make me who I am today.
So making the decision to come to UT Martin, what was that like, and what went into that process?
Honestly, it was a person who knew a person who could get in touch with Simp, and then Simp really honestly just gave me a shot. I didn't have too much film. I had some film, but it was really just Coach Simp believing in a guy from Knoxville, a kid from Knoxville who had a dream, and he really gave me the opportunity of a lifetime. Coach Simp doesn't truly know probably or understand like what he's done for me and the things that he's done to be able to change my life. From Knoxville, people don't come to play Division I football, and let alone get to do what I've done on the level and stages that I've done. So all I can really say is just UTM. I didn't really pick UTM. UTM kind of picked me, and they took me in open arms, and I just can't thank Coach Simp enough for giving me the opportunity.
Now into your coordinators. You have 3 in the past 6 years that you've had here, all of them being really good. Chris Polizzi, and then you also had Jordan Hankins, who's at Memphis, and Coach Polizzi at Tulsa, and then Coach Butcher now, as you all, I think, are about to set another Division I record for rushing defense. And what have you learned from all 3 of those guys that has put you into the position today? What's one thing that you've learned from all of them?
Coach Hankins, I was here with him for 1 year, and he actually, the starting linebacker, was my coach. Now the cornerbacks coach, T.J. Jefferson. So really, I learned a lot from Coach Hankins about just you know, the attention to detail that this game comes with, college come with, being on time to meetings, being on time to the weight room. You know, those are little things that can knock a team off track. So that's one thing I've learned from him. Coach Polizzi, he really cared for every player that he had, and just he really taught me a lot of football stuff, but life lessons, of just knowing when to do this and knowing when to do that and when to pick that fight and not pick that fight, and just being genuinely nice and to people, making an impact on people, making people smile. So that's the big thing that I learned from Coach P. And Coach Butch is a a guru for football. He's literally taught me almost everything I know about football. Whenever I coach, I'm gonna run Coach Butch defense, where he introduced me to, and just Coach Butch. He's lead by action. He definitely talks to us and stuff, but his focus and the way he breaks down film and the way he is so detail oriented. He is the best coach I've had. He's smart, and he is. I am lucky to have him as DC, and that's why I say, like, God put me here for a reason. I went through 3 magnificent DCs, and Coach Butch was just a nail in the coffin. Like, he's great, so I appreciate him for that.
So, again, that Coach Simpson, you talk about him. He's been here 19 years. Next year will be year number 20 for him. What's one of your favorite things about him? What's one of your favorite sayings? Ask Tevin that. It could be something real, or it could just be something that you kind of look back on and you just chuckle about.
I probably have to. My favorite thing about Coach Simp, and Shipp will be able to attest to this, and the ones that was here with me and Shipp can really see this, his ability to adjust these past 5 to 6 years is really been the biggest reason of why I think our teams have been successful. He has adjusted to every single team that we've had, and they were so different. Like, every team from 2019 to now has been so different, and he's adjusted and made it work every single year. And that is the biggest thing that I've seen from him, just being able to adjust on the fly with all these different type of players and the portal and then COVID and like everything like that. So like the way he adjusts is crazy. And people don't probably know this because we do like this little thing where it's like a talent show, and Quad. He's at Alabama A&M right now, but that's probably the funniest thing I've seen. Like, seeing Coach Simp reaction to them acting out Coach Simp, it was priceless. Like, it was priceless.
I've heard, because Quad called games with me for basketball. I heard his impression. It's scary.
It's scary. It's scary, like, accurate. So
if he called me on the phone and it said it was Coach Simpson,
I would believe it. Like, that was literally the funniest moment I probably had at UTM. Just watching Coach Simp and then seeing how he is spot on with this action. Like, it was crazy. It was crazy.
I'm gonna have to text Quad and I'm gonna be like, can you please send me a video?
Like, and I'm pretty sure he has it. Because that was epic. It was literally a legendary moment at UTM, bro. Like, he had to be there.
Yeah, it had to be there. Had to be there. So now, number 1 team in the country coming up this Saturday in Montana State. This is a huge game for them, obviously, as they try to chase a national championship. They haven't won one in quite some time. UT Martin has also never gotten a win in the second round of the FCS playoffs. And what's the mindset going into practice this week to take on that Goliath?
Honestly, the mindset is just what has been all year. You can't skip any steps. Number 1 team in the country, the sorriest team in the country. You can't skip any steps because on any given Saturday, any team can be beat. It's the team that's best that Saturday. So it's the same thing for us. It's just, your attention to detail, and it's steps to it. It's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and it starts today with today's practice. And just can't skip steps, and just locked in mentally and physically and doing the things that we need to do to be ready on Saturday.
Well, Chris, appreciate your time as always. Good luck here coming up this Saturday.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, man. We'll go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we'll have Jaylon Sharpe from the UT Martin football team join us here on Skyhawk Sports Talk.
If I quit this season, I still be the greatest.
Skyhawk Sports Talk podcast is brought to you by Weekly Ford Nissan.
And we're back here on Skyhawk Sports Talk. Davis Gregory here as we join the final member of the Big Three here for the UT Martin linebacker crew, Jaylon Sharpe, All-OVC first-teamer for that Skyhawk defense, coming off the second ever FCS playoff win in program history for the Skyhawks. Jaylon, thanks so much for joining me here today.
Thank you for having me, man. Like I just said, man, I was glad to finally get on the show before I get out of here. So
had to get you on here before you left.
Right,
That's exactly what it was.
I'm glad you did, though.
That's what it is. So going first to the game on this Saturday, New Hampshire, really a dominating game from you all. What went into the game plan, and how were you all able to execute that so well?
The biggest thing was just stay true to ourselves. Like, we know what type of defense we can be. We know what caliber defense we are, and we know we are nationally, So, and then plus being an underdog in that game just added motivation to what we think we can do and achieve. Like you seen it, we got the best defensive coordinator in the nation. We got the best defense, I personally feel, in the nation. But obviously that box, you can't run against us. And when we make you one-dimensional, good luck with that. You know what I'm saying? We know what you're doing before you do it, and you have a hard time playing against us. But I think the game plan was just staying true to what we do and obviously clean up some things that we needed to work on and, play our game.
And talk about the defensive line. I mean, Smiley, Christian Dow has been great this year. Also, Charles Perkins. How do they make you all's job easier as linebackers?
Well, I mean, shoot, if you got let me put it in a numbers perspective. So they have 5 O-linemen, and we have 5 people in the box. They have one person for each of us, right? But when you got Smiley, you can't block him one-on-one. You need 2 people. You need 3 people to block him. And if you need 2 people to block him, that makes me free. And if somebody blocks me, then that makes Perk free or Deshaun free. Like, we have a good box where you can't block one of us by yourself. You need to double team somebody. You double team somebody, then we have a free person. So them boys, Smiley, like I told Smiley last week, he's the best at his position. Like, even though he doesn't have the stats to show it, man, when you cause havoc like that, it just only makes it easier for the rest of the defense. You know what I'm saying? So those are the best D linemen I probably ever played with. And just how versatile they are. But, yeah, those boys are a tribute to how good our defense is.
Nose tackle, again, like you said, it doesn't get the stats. Kind of like offensive line.
Yeah.
You don't really see a lot of stats from them, but they can get in
trust
there.
me, coaches know, though. Coaches
great.
know that he's the probably our best defensive player. Like, coaches know that.
Hey, Smiley, great play. He's been here a long time. For you, transferring from Charlotte, what was the decision to come here to UT Martin? What was that like?
Well, during that, so I split my college career. I did 3 years at Charlotte, 3 years here. And on the way out from Charlotte, it was kind of just a little bit of coaching change. It was kind of, I was under Will Healy, and he was there, and then it was on the way out the door. And I played a little bit my freshman year, and then, the COVID year was after that, and then I got injured. So it was kind of, all right, man, let's just see if we can, go somewhere else and attribute a little bit more to a defense. And when I got in the portal, it wasn't really too much coming my way. But Coach Butcher, he had recruited me when he was at Coastal Carolina, so that's how he came familiar with me, and it's just history from there, man. I ended up taking a visit out here, and it wasn't really nobody out here for me to get the experience that I'm getting now, but it was still great for all that happening, and just the way it's set up, Coach Bush finding me like that, it was just a blessing.
And I know with Tevin and Chris, they spent some time behind John Ford and Rob Hicks in that group. And for you, you were on special teams a lot in that 2022 season. So how would you maximize your time there and maximize those reps on special teams to be able to say, hey, I'm going out here and I'm going to focus in on my job right here and then earn the reps on defense?
I think the big thing is me being a new guy and stuff, that a lot of the team doesn't really know what I'm capable of yet when I first get here, you know what I'm saying? So, you get camped to display it, but yeah, they don't know what you can do in the actual game. And when you sit behind 2 guys like Rob and John, who 6-year guys who are they were first-team All-Americans out there, so, I mean, you can't really complain about it. All you got to do is sit back and learn and try to experience it. But it also, like, when it's your time to make plays, man, make plays. And, I mean, it was only a couple of opportunities I got, but still, you make the most of it. It obviously set you up in a position for next year, the year I started, to be able to, progress, and you know what I'm saying? So.
And talking about Coach Butcher, you the quarterback of the defense, that middle linebacker spot. How does he make your job easier as you all prepare throughout the weeks?
I think Coach Butcher, he's the smartest person I know, but I think I look at myself as having a high IQ, and I think me and him can have conversations on what we would expect, what do we think we're going to get. I think conversations are easier to talk when you got mature guys that can kind of understand what you're trying to get at as a coach. I mean, you go to a young team, you could tell them, but they probably won't. They probably really won't understand what you're trying to say. But with this mature team that we have, he can say something, we understand. Okay, this is how they're going to attack us, or this is how this is what they were planning on doing against us, like even though they can't do some things. So I think the conversations are kind of transparent on what we're trying to get done.
Talk about your guys over there, Tevin and Chris. What was the relationship like with them when you came here, and how has that grown up into what it is right now?
I think that was like I said, this was all meant to be when I first got here. When I first got here in camp that 2022 year, I didn't have housing for me, so I immediately stayed with Chris. But his room was all filled up, so I was sleeping on his living room floor for that first half of the season. I didn't get a room until probably the season started. So I was living on Chris' living room floor, and me and him kind of bonded like that because his car was messed up, so he was riding with me, same position group. So me and him clicked off instantly. I think me and Shipp started getting a feel for more each other as the season prolonged or whatever. But I think that next year it was just a brotherhood. Like it was these are my brothers. These are my favorite people I ever met. So it was a blessing, and I couldn't be grateful more than these guys.
So we've already talked to both of them about their interceptions this year and how you and Tevin both have touchdowns.
Yeah.
Chris doesn't have a pick six yet.
Right.
But is it only for you 2 on the year, but 14.5 tackles for a loss, and doing it in both ways? I mean, how do you do that as a dual threat linebacker, also being a run stopper and being able to get into the backfield, but also playing your coverage correctly and being there whenever the ball gets thrown to you?
I think also that, like I said, Coach Butch is a smart coordinator, man. A lot of those plays, a lot of those TFLs are a lot of blitzes that he calls. So, also I got to make the play or whatever, but the just anticipation of what we're going to get, like I said, me understanding of what Coach Butch is expecting when he's calling those plays. Like he breaks down to us like when he calls this play, this is what he thinks is going to come. So it kind of gives us a idea of what we're about to get. So when he calls a blitz like that, and I just hit it, it's all him calling the play. I just make the play. You know what I'm saying? So. Which the rest of the plays are too. So, man, it's really a combination of everything, man. A combination of coaching and execution at the D line, execution at the back of spot, execution on the back end. Because some of those picks I get, they might not come our way if somebody's open downfield. You know what I'm saying? So it's just execution all around. I think that's pretty much for most of our plays at the linebacker position. There's a lot of good things going around us to make us make those plays.
Yeah, Coach Simpson, he's been here 19 years. You've been with him now for 3 years.
Yeah.
What's something you've learned from him that you're going to carry on after you graduate?
Oh, man, he just trust what he's saying, man. Coaches, I don't know what a typical career tenure of a coach, but, 19 years at one spot, man, you got to be doing something right. So, obviously listen to what he's saying, try to pick up any little gems that he drops. But, he's a great coach, and it's a blessing to learn from him.
And plans after graduating, once this season ends, what's going on with your life?
Man, I don't know. Whatever happens with football happens, but I'm a big football guy, so coaching is probably my next thing, and that was another reason why I came here too. When I first talked to Coach Sim, that's what I told him what I wanted to do out there, and he told me the kind of the blueprint of how like since he's been here, all the guys he's done got into coaching and gave opportunities for bigger jobs and all that stuff. So that was another big thing too. But coaching is probably gonna be my next plan whenever football ends for me. Hopefully, because I got so much to give to this game. Like I feel I have a lot to give. So I won't be out of football.
Last question for you. Montana State coming up Saturday, #1 team in the country. They got the #1 overall seed in these playoffs, and saw them in 2021. UT Martin did, and scored half was just 10-7 there in Bozeman. How do you all feel like you can maximize your opportunities this week to best prepare you for Saturday?
I think we have another opportunity to display how good Skyhawk football is. Like we're playing the #1 team in FCS, but you don't have no doubt in this city right here, man. We play teams like Georgia and Kansas State and stuff. They prepare you for games like this, even though we're not on the same FBS, FCS level. But that competition right there, it's nothing much better than Georgia. You know what I'm saying? So if you can hold your own against Georgia, you got a pretty good chance against the FCS team. So don't think we're doubting anything over here. I think we just keep working on working on ourselves and keep executing what we need to do, and I think everything will work out. But I promise you, we fully believe that we got this game.
Jaylon, appreciate your time as always,
Yes, sir.
and good luck here on Saturday.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it.
We'll go ahead and take a break. When we come back, head coach of the UT Martin football team, Jason Simpson, will join us here on Skyhawk Sports Talk.
If I quit this season, I still be the greatest.
Skyhawk Sports Talk podcast is brought to you by Weekly Ford Nissan.
Back here on Skyhawk Sports Talk, Davis Gregory here, final guest of the show, and certainly not least, as head coach Jason Simpson of the UT Martin football team joins us now. Skyhawks defeating 16th seeded New Hampshire in the first round of the FCS playoffs, 41-10, getting the school's second ever playoff win. Coach, congratulations on that second playoff win in 4 years, and it was a tremendous effort by your group on Saturday.
It makes me sick to my stomach when I hear that. That's a two-part statement right there, because this team should have been there last year and had an opportunity just like the year before. So anyway, can't do anything over spilled milk, but it still irks me, and
it still might leave a stain, though.
No, it does. And that's one of the reasons. That's what you're talking about. Why that win was so good for us, to help the next time. We're 8-3 and on the bubble.
That's what I was talking to Tevin about.
Without an at-large, without an automatic bid. Although it didn't help from 21 to 22-3, but but now you've done it twice as an at-large team. So no, I hope it helps in the years to come. But no, very proud of of the program, of this particular team, of the coaches. It's good to see you got those three backers in here today, and they're a large part of that. That's what we were just talking about. They prepared well, the team did. That we traveled well, and then they played well. And those three things have to, you got to do those first two first to have a chance for that third one. And those guys carry a lot of weight in that locker room, and they're good players. And you know what? I forgot they were all three going to be here today. As a coach, sometimes you get so caught up into, and it's part of the deal. You have to spend all your time on this with the transfer portal and the NIL and all that. But there's still unique stories and great stories about people and perseverance in college football. And those are three of them there. They all got through. Tevin Shipp came here as a walk-on, and now he's one of the captains of the team, an outstanding player. And Chris Hunter. I mean, it took him 5 years before he was in that lineup, and it was a lot of frustration that came with that. But you had John Ford before that. You had
Rob Hicks and T.J. Neal.
There was some good players in that, and he was a good player, but there were some other good players, and they had proven track records, but he stuck it out, and now he's having the time of his life here as a 6-year senior. Great memories, and playing very well, made all conference. And you know how hard it is to get three guys, in those two linebacker spots, first and second team, and all their stats were pretty identical. But Shipp and Sharpe had done it last year, so maybe that's why they got the nod as well. And but to see Chris Hunter make that all-conference team, man, that was enjoyable to see him, how excited he was on that. And so, no, those are really good stories, man, and it helps you through all the different uncertainty about the transfer portal and which opens up next week and stuff that you deal with your current team, or who you're going to lose and things that kind of out of my control. But those are good stories, and I appreciate those guys.
And talking about those three guys just for a second, those are three guys where you mentioned in those stories, they've all got something in common. They had to wait.
Yeah,
they had to wait, and sometimes today you've got some players that, quite frankly, don't want to wait. But those guys wait out their turn, and look what it did. I mean, it's a perfect example of if you stay, you let your coaches develop. You can be a really good player, and you can reap the benefits.
Well, and who knows, we didn't talk about Sharpe, but, Sharpe getting here from Charlotte, he had to wait that first year. We were a 10-win team that year, and he was on special teams, and he was down. I mean, it was hard on him. We had a lot of conversations. But, these last 2 years, he's been at the forefront of everything, and, being on the Buchanan Award watch list and stuff. And so, but in order to do those things, you also got to be surrounded by other good players too.
Right.
That's part of the deal, and, these guys have won 17 games in 2 years. You go to another place, maybe he plays that first year. But, he's not surrounded by good D linemen and good secondary, good coaching, and maybe he doesn't reach his full potential. and I think they all three would tell you, yeah, they would have liked to have played more, okay, but would they be as good as they are now, productive as they are now? Would they be as mentally, tough and galvanized as they are now? And be in the playoffs, which gives them individually more opportunity for NFL teams to see their tape and maybe make an all-star game and prolong their career. So, you can't look at a crystal ball and see, but those are the things that I hope they take here and appreciate their time here, Tim Martin.
So going back to that game, New Hampshire getting them 41-10, outgained them 482-124, and they only had 71 passing yards and 53 yards on the ground. But Coach, I know their defense was the strong suit. You all really, capitalized on that.
Yeah. First and foremost, it's been a while. That tells you how good our conference was this year. I don't think we had a game like that this year in our conference that we just dominated. Yeah, after that first quarter, 7-7, right? Then that was it. And I'm not sure that the score that it probably could have been worse. Not that we missed any opportunities or whatever. I'm just talking about at the line of scrimmage and the flow of the game as I'm watching. It was pretty dominant. I think the biggest mistake we made, which can cost us, was a kickoff return. Obviously disappointed in that. So anyway, first and foremost, our league, we didn't dominate a game like that this whole year. So when you watch teams and you watch, that you're going to play, you've never played against, you see their numbers and you see how good they are on defense. We knew offensively we didn't, we felt like we were going to be able to hold them in check. But you don't know till you get there.
Right.
And then once you saw, our guys are coming to the sideline saying, hey, run the ball, we'll be okay. That's a good sign. That's a good feeling. And then, and not that they didn't stop some of the runs, but, but then you hit some passes and then that, so I thought we had great balance on offense. We had outstanding balance. And Kincaid did some really good things. Receivers, Ruck and Tank made some plays for him, and that was great to see. And then defensively, we just suffocated them. One quarterback run got out. They had one play that we consider an explosive. It was a 20-yard play, and we missed the sack, and the quarterback got out. And we were in man coverage, but great game plans by our coaches, and the kids executed and played well. And were very determined, and it was fun to watch. It was a good locker room after the game.
And most yards given up by New Hampshire since the season opener against UCF.
Was it really?
And so really big game, 236 rushing yards, 246 passing. As you said, Coach, really balanced. They're 2 of 12 on third down, 0 of 4 then on fourth down, and 5 rushing touchdowns by 5 different players. I don't know the last time that's happened. It was very dispersed among that group.
Well, it was kind of ironic. Normally you only have 3 to 5 plays for goal line, okay? So those are what you work that week, and I think we went through those plays, 3 times almost because we were inside that 5-yard line many times. So, wasn't able to necessarily get the touchdown pass or the big run or whatever. That's kind of not how we're built, that's not Cheeks' forte, and that's not, Rucker's forte. But they get us down there, and that's all you can ask for. So yeah, and then we got, I'm sure, were we 5 of 5 inside that red zone or whatever.
7 of 7.
7 of 7. And that's a good deal. And enjoyed meeting their coach before the game. I remember Coach Santos when I first took the job here. I remember watching New Hampshire when we got beat the first round by Southern Illinois, and I think it was either 06 or 07 that they were in the playoffs. And I remember seeing him as a player. He was a good player, and I think he went on. He told me had a small career in the NFL, came back as an assistant coach there, and then got the head job in 19, I think he said. And so they've always been strong, never been there. 17 maybe playoff appearances, 15 at least, 2 semifinal appearances and stuff. So some things that I aspire to be here. That kind of consistency. It's hard. It's hard. It's very hard to do now with the transfer portal. So, for him to tell me after the game, Coach, congratulations, you guys got after us, and that doesn't happen on both sides of the ball very often here, and he's been around that program probably for 20 years. So that was kind of not only the win satisfying, how we won, and the determined and kind of make a statement per se, as far as maybe some people didn't think we should be in. Maybe there shouldn't have been 3 teams, and our other 2 conference, cohorts that were in, they lost, but they were competitive games. This just shows you, it prepared us for this opportunity. And it's ironic this week that we play Montana State, because that's who I always use with the players, when we're talking about practice. Is our practice today good enough to beat Montana State? Is our practice better than Montana State's? And, sometimes we may throw in there North Dakota State or South Dakota State, because those are the traditional powerhouses in FCS football. So, today I get to use that for real, right? I get to say, we've been talking about this before, going back to January. Well, guess what? Now you get to go see, and we're playing an outstanding team. I mean, number one team in the country, 12 and 0.
12-0, and they've only played 2 games that were decided by single digits. And one of them was an FBS school, and the other one was UC Davis, who's a national seed.
So, they're by far, besides Kansas State, the best team that we played, and they're coached well, and they got good players, and it's a great atmosphere. Of course, we've been there in 21. But it's what the playoffs are about. It's what you can't sneak in. You have to go. You got to go on the road and face adversity. It's not a 4 out of 7 series now, which is to our advantage, right? It's a 1-game deal. It's 4 quarters. Last time we were there, we were a shell of ourselves, and it was 10-7 at halftime, 13-7 late in the third quarter. And they were so good on defense, and Keon Howard, our quarterback, was out, Colton Dowell, Tank, Chris Jackson and left guard. We were a shell of ourselves, and we couldn't move the football on offense, and our defense played their tails off, gave us a chance. I think we ended up losing 27-7, 29-7 or something like that. I think they scored 2 late in the fourth. Chris Hunter knows what it's about. Shipp knows what it's about. I think there's 7 or 8 kids, actually. That's how much the team has turned over since 21. They were on that trip, that had been in that stadium and stuff. But, no, we're all excited. Getting back yesterday, of course, we're grinding. You probably were sitting by the fire, drinking some cocoa. And I saw your cool picture with the Red Sox, though.
Going to Fenway
Park. You live an awesome life, by the way. You get to go do basketball during the middle of the week. Right, and then you're jet setting up there, your own private jet up there to New Hampshire. He doesn't even ride with the team. For those out there listening, he's got his contract says he gets X amount of flight hours.
I get the Chancellor's plane. That's
on
what
the
it
school
is.
jet. So I didn't even get to see you on the trip because.
Well, I saw you. Well, I saw you going on the plane, and then saw you coming back on the plane.
I know. Well, I kidded you about your flat bill hat.
Yeah, that's what it was when we got to Paducah.
You've kind of outgrown that. You wear that when you're 15.
I'll change hats for this. I'll go visor next one. How about that? Well, I joked to you. I told you that, listen, with all these plane trips, I need some more Dramamine. I'm running out, Coach.
It's a long trip. We're supposed to be in at 11, at night, and then go in after 2 a.m. Saturday night. So, but it doesn't sting quite as bad when you win.
Right. I was about to say, I think someone said on the bus, they're like, man, can you imagine if we lost that game? We're sitting here. We get told planes in Connecticut, and we're already at the airport. I would have been,
man.
You got to be absolutely kidding me right now.
And that's what, people don't know. It's just the grind that goes into this, and we're not complaining, but this starts in June. I mean, it really does. It starts in June and July and August, September, October, November, and here you are, almost to December. And, you get in at 2 a.m. and then we're in the office by noon and here we go. It's funny, we watched the game of the win of the New Hampshire game and you're grading it and seeing what you did good, what you got to improve on, corrections with the players. And as soon as you hit stop on the video, I mean, that's it. You no longer get to enjoy that, right? And you turn the tape on of your next opponent, which this week is Montana State. And then, that competitive nature and worrying of are we going the right direction with the game plan? Can we do this? Can we, so the next 72 hours, you're kind of in a study mode, like for the test on Saturday, and trying to get your players the best chance that you can get them in to be successful.
2 things before we move on to Montana State, Coach. First of all, shout out to Chris Bell. Chris Bell, Director of Football Operations for us. He's getting all the, hotels and all the buses and all the food plans. He's done a really great job, and I know that it's probably a very thankless job, but just wanted to thank him for everything that he's doing.
He is, and I do, when I say our coaches, I appreciate them, the job they do. I in my mind, Chris Bell is one of our coaches, even though he's in an administrative role. But go back and look at Chris has been with us now maybe 7 years or whatever. So 4 of his 7 years we won conference championships. There's a reason for that. It allows me to coach. It allows me to be more hands-on as the offense coordinator, and then do different things, recruiting and stuff, because he helps run the day-to-day. And, you go back now, when we first started this program, there was no Chris Bell. It was myself and the staff, and we did the travel. And there was no academic support staff. I mean, it was us and Colonel Kaler.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we've come a long way, and it was hard. You didn't know any different, so you just did it. But I'm sure there was things, these plane trips and stuff, they were very difficult. But no, that is when you're, 130 people went on the trip. I think it was 130 that the NCAA pays for. So you got the flights, you got the food, you got the, and then now when you get back, you got to turn around and get us to Bozeman, Montana,
right.
and all the special perks and stuff that you require. I mean, that's even harder on him to get you to make sure you got your suite and you've got your champagne and strawberries and all that, slippers and robe and everything.
Yeah, I got a robe with my initials on it. That's what you think I got in the room.
Some of you guys, y'all are just, if I would tell y'all jump in a lake, I would do it for you.
So, final thing, though, before we get to the Bobcats, Coach, update on Tyler Dawson. That's a tough injury for him there. Yeah. How's he doing?
I know he's seen the doctors today. I'm not real sure. I think surgery scheduled for later on in the week. Man, it's a cruel game. It is. I mean, Tyler's been he's been a playmaker for us, and he's found a niche for us, and catching the football and developing into a quality player, and he just kind of gives us some at that tight end position. Gives us, I think between the two tight ends, him and Max, 10 touchdowns, and he almost had one this weekend before, got pulled down there like that. But it's a cruel game. Hopefully the surgery will go well. And he had a great attitude about it, man. I mean, think about that. I mean, you're there. Luckily, his mom was able to be there and go. I mean, during the game, he has to go to the hospital and get the ankle reset, and then get back on the plane with us because he wants to get back. He's got finals coming up and last week of class. And his mom, lives 10+ hours away. Man, it's just tough. And then this week, I'm sure probably won't travel because he'll be uncomfortable after the surgery. Man, I just the pit of my stomach hurts, thinking about that for him. But what a great play, the little trick play we ran, the little play action, and really flipped the field for us. But we'll miss him. It not only do I hate it for him as a person, it affects our offense as well because he was he was a weapon, and those tight ends done a good job catching the football this year.
And now getting into Montana State, #1 team in the country here as UT Martin heads to Bozeman, and for the second time a rematch of the second round playoff game in 2021. Which it's funny that 2021 playoff game in Bozeman, state championship in Chattanooga from a Simpson brother, and then now another one is playing on Friday. Does President Boyd, can he get you that private jet to Chattanooga and then fly you to Bozeman?
Well, I'm not even sure he knows who I am.
No, come on.
That's okay, but no, he's been great for the the universities, but no, I'm not that special. So I'll be with the team. It looks like, but no, it'd be great. It kind of stinks to miss both your son's state championship games because Ty went his senior year,
right?
So there was no opportunity, and you don't know if Graham and his buddies at Westview will get to go back again. It's hard to do, but I'm very proud for the community. I mean, it's we kid in our little daddy's group text at the quarterback club, that it's through our eyes anyway. This is a championship city, and whether it be girls basketball, Westview football, Westview softball. Right. I mean, they're chasing for state championships, and we're trying to get the conference. And I don't know, we got to the point where we're ready to talk about national championship, right? But we're in the round of 16. So very proud of that. You think about that. There's just quality, and that your community has to be able to support that.
Right.
Okay. And not only is it a burden for them financially, it is, okay, but, that's a lot of concession stand visits. That's a lot of tickets to be bought and stuff to support that high school and support our university. And I've had a blast the last 19 years, and it's been really fun since my kids have gone through the middle school and the high school. We've been involved in some very neat things, and we're very blessed.
And so Montana State here coming up. I'm glad that I heard Emma's coming with you as well. She was with you on this past trip, so
absolutely.
she gets you the big win the first. She's got to come on another one. You know what? That's just that's just how it works out.
That was very. I enjoyed that. I tell you what, when Emma was little, she went on a few trips, but the boys would butt her out.
Yeah, exactly.
They would butt her out, and because it was hard for a little girl to stand on the sideline and stuff, by herself, and the boys. That they were used to that and stuff. So, yeah, to be blessed enough to take my kids on these trips and do different things with them and interact with them and stuff. It stinks right now. They're at the age that, they got their own games.
Right.
And matter of fact, from what I understand, I think Ty's going to get to go to this game because they're off this weekend. Bama's off, so I was talking to him this morning, and his plan is to, I think Dresser Wynn's coming too.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, because he played there in 21, so I think he had already bought his ticket, and Ty was making arrangements to go and stuff. So, I'm proud of that. I tell you something and you saw it on the plane, and I do enjoy this. I was 34 when I took this job, so Ty was 3 or so, and Emma was 1. And but now to see Coach Butcher and his wife Becca and their little boy Cal, and you see Bannon, who I coached, and he's there with his 3. There were Knox and Kyler and his baby girl. To see that's pretty cool, man. And I tell them enjoy it, and I would do everything in my power to make this a comfortable environment for you, so your kids can be around this, and there's no need to stand guard at your desk. Go be a dad. I'll be very upset with you if you don't, because if you work for somebody else, I can't promise you how they'll run their program.
Right.
And but as long as you're here, take advantage of it, because I'm certainly am, and nobody, when I'm on my deathbed, right, nobody will remember how many OVC championships, right? It will be, what did my children think of me, and that's important to me.
Well, I mean, and I know that it's such a busy life too, and I think about Coach Butcher, his wife, doing some of the social media too, and then also
she's awesome.
She's great.
She's
my
awesome.
gosh,
Yeah.
she is. She got some pictures of me getting onto the plane. I felt like a superstar. I really did. I was. Oh
She's
my
great.
gosh, she's great. But like being able to have your family there again and your wife coming to practices and Ty on his bye weeks. It's rare, and time is so little and so valuable.
Yeah.
But it is just awesome to be able to get your family there when you can, because again, y'all got a busy life.
No, we do, and it's cool. Kurt McGuffin's is the same way. Athletic director. When he took this job 7 or so years ago, I remember he and I had a conversation. He wanted to get his children through school and stuff, and and so to have Brett, his middle son, who's a student here at UT Martin, on that plane with us and stuff, that's cool, man. Because I don't know if you remember last year, and I appreciate Brett. When we beat Illinois, Brett went with Kurt, to the game, and the 2-point, they didn't get it, and you see Brett, running in the end zone, and he did it. Actually, I saw him on the video, as I was grading the tape. They hit Kincaid late out of bounds, and you see Brett standing there, and he's yelling, he's pointing at the kid, and getting the flag from the official. I mean, that's cool. That's UT Martin, and really, it's really neat.
My favorite clip about that, we'll get to this game 1 second. My favorite clip about that Eastern Illinois game, and you go back, it's on the highlight tape. You just see Kurt the second the ball hits the go, just jump up in there.
No, you're right.
That's the highest I've ever seen him jump in my life.
It's a cool pick. I mean, and that's. You're invested. You're invested, and there's other teams to pull for, another thing. But not only do your parents work here, but you go to school here. And Emma, I think I said this on here before, right? She was, her sorority. You had to be there for the first half of the homecoming game, right? But if needed to, you could leave at halftime, and no repercussions. And she was like, no, we gotta everybody stay for the whole game.
I love it.
Stay for the whole game. And so, no, I appreciate that. But those are coaches' kids, administrator kids, and it's entrenched in them. of how important it is. Not only is this, how we make our livelihoods, okay, but it's part of our life. It's threads of our life, and it takes up a lot of our time.
So that Montana State Bobcats again, 2021, that second round game, it got UT Martin 26-7, but I think that was the lowest amount of points they scored up until the national championship. I think they lost to North Dakota State in that one in 2021. And they've won every game, talked about this, but they've won every game but two by double figures. That was FBS New Mexico, and then UC Davis, who's seeded number 5. Head coach Brent Vegan, he's had great success since 2021 when he's become the head coach.
Great guy. I mean, I don't know him great, but he and I had some conversations before the game, and enjoyed it. Does a great job. I don't know how, I guess Montana played for the national championship last year.
They did, yes.
Okay, so I was going to say, how did it flipped? But I guess it really hadn't. Montana's still in the second round and won the national championship last year. But obviously in that state, they are, there is no other, it's just them two. So they get all, those kids in state dreaming about playing there, and then they go from there out, other states to get some different, different additions to their roster. But, I think first and foremost you have to start with the environment. Okay, both schools, Montana and Montana State. I'm sure there'll be 20,000, and that doesn't sound like a lot, but there was 1,000 at New Hampshire. Okay, I mean, it's Thanksgiving weekend. Okay,
it's freezing.
Yeah, it's freezing. You can watch it on television. You can watch it on ESPN Plus and stuff. So, they embrace it. Just like Montana did against Tennessee State the other night. So, no, it's great. I'm proud for our kids to get to go play in that type of environment. And it's a tight little stadium, and the horses, that come out before the game. So it'll be a real environment for them. So I'm excited for that. And it can get loud on that closed in. Okay, when you get backed up down there, so we'll have to be, have some a plan from that. Well, then you go to the quality of football that they play. Okay, that game when we got there on Thursday, their quarterback had been benched. All right, who was more of a throwing guy. Okay. Or they were trying to be balanced, and that was the first game that the quarterback that's been starting
Tommy Malott, yep,
for the last 4 years. It was his first game to start as a true freshman, and obviously made a difference in that game. Well, since then, right, he's done great things, and they're a tremendous rushing football team, over 317 yards a game, and they play outstanding defense. Nobody's been able to get in the 20s on them very often. So those are your challenges, and they're huge. They're huge challenges. But like I said, you're playing one game. How do you get it in the second half with an opportunity? And we'll have to control the line of scrimmage, all those things. We'll have to tackle well. Eventually the play action pass is going to come, right? Offensively, they're 4-man front, or their defense, but for our offense, they're a 4-man front, and they really get up the field, and they're fast at linebacker, and they're good in the secondary. You get in too many third and longs, you're going to have a problem because they rush the passer real well. So all those things, you gotta get ready for and play the odds of what does your team do the best, but yet also how can you get them to where all their cleats aren't in the ground. You got to make them think a little bit, right? So they can take a little bit of the aggression out of it. And then we got to play better. We got to play well on special teams. We can't give up. We lost our kicker several weeks ago, our kickoff guy, so we're not kicking the ball deep enough, and it's hurting us. Balls are, ran one back. Yeah, we didn't cover very well. Then they're getting it out, sometimes to the 40 and 50-yard line. You can't have those kind of short fields against this team. Because once they get over the 50-yard line, right, they can go for it on fourth down because they feel so good about their running game. And you get them to 4th and 3, and they still can go for it and keep the drive going. So you got to try to get as many long fields as you can. Would it help? Obviously, it'd help to get a turnover or something, but it's not like they're risking putting the ball in the air, and we're very good, at intercepting the football. Okay, so you're gonna have to knock it loose and try to scoop one up off the ground. So all those different things, would need to happen for you. But we're just gonna go and fight, man. We're gonna go and play, do what we do well. And have a good mindset about it, and that's my message to the team today. You're playing the number 1 team in the country. Okay?
What else could you want?
You're on the road. We're still playing football. There's only 16 teams of 120 something, left, and Little Martin, Tennessee is still there. Look at the legacy that you guys these last 4 years have been able to be a part of and help get the program to. Now you want more? Well, here it is. It's one game. Go have fun and run around. So that's my message to them, and I'm excited about it.
Hey, 60 minutes on the clock at Montana State. I mean, I've got all these stats down here. here. I mean, but you know them all at this point in time. Scoring defense, they're top 10. Rushing offense, they're great. Rushing defense, they're good too. I mean, Tommy Millott was the conference player of the year. Then you got their defensive lineman, Brody Grebe, that's a standout player too, and multiple other players there. But again, as you sit back, and I think I talked to you about it one week, but just focusing on controlling what you can control and saying, hey, there's going to be 60 minutes on the clock. That field is the same distance as ours.
Yeah.
It's 100 yards.
It's like Hoosiers, right?
Yeah,
it's like
exactly.
The show Hoosiers.
It's a
10
22
tall.
feet, yeah, or whatever. The goal is 10 feet tall.
Yeah.
It's the same as we practice on. So what's going to be, I know talking to them, it's just, hey, each day we got to maximize our opportunities and be sharp in practice so that when we get there, game's easy because you practice well.
Well, I would hope my message, part of the message to the team, though, is also you're built for this, okay? And what I mean by that is, I feel like the way we practice, okay, the way we compete, our schemes as far as you start with balance on offense, right? We're not just a running team. We're not just a throwing team. When we're good, right, we're 250 one way, 200 another, and, it's going to be very difficult to get to those numbers this week, okay? But, they can't just defend one thing, okay? Defensively, we're built to stop the run. Now, have we faced a team that runs the ball this well? No, we haven't. But that's how we're built, okay? And, so that you see SEMO the other night threw it 85 times. Okay, now they were down 28-7, and that's what they do the best. But I think it's very, they turned the ball over 8 times, 5 interceptions. And, we're not built like that right now. That's not the players we recruited. And I think it's very difficult to win in NFL playoffs, college playoffs, if there's not, if you can't run the football some. All right,
And especially in the weather too.
And we're going to be somewhat blessed with the weather, right? I mean, it's 49 degrees, and it's better, it's probably be colder here on Saturday.
It probably will
It's
be.
49 degrees and sunny. I saw the wind's going to get up, but that's okay. I'll take that. I saw their game versus Montana. I was watching it on tape this morning, and windy and spitting snow and ice and stuff. So, no, we're not going to have to face that. So that's a break for us. I mean, that is, okay, because, I'm sure they'd be happy to run it, 60 times. Okay. Well, we won't, like I said, in our scheme, we want to be a little bit more balanced. So we need to, we don't need it to be raining or snowy and all that kind of stuff from a throwing standpoint. So, we have a senior quarterback. They do too, so that's something that you want this time, an experienced guy. That we're relatively healthy besides Tyler Dawson, all right, which was a big loss to us. So that's another thing that you're asking for, this time of year. So, it's tough from a program standpoint. Other teams are still recruiting right now.
I was thinking about that today. It's just it's hard to probably recruit right now.
It is from the standpoint where you can say, hey, man, you come here, 4 conference championships, second, Sweet 16.
The resume speaks for itself.
Resume, all right. But if we'll get back to you next week. Well, there's only when we get back from this trip, if we win, right, we're getting ready, for another round, okay? Well, signing day is December the 4th, so it's this week, the 4th. You can bring kids back on your campus starting this weekend, okay? So for the next 3 weeks. Well, obviously we would lose this weekend. The portal opens up next week, so it's just a different dynamic, and so it's a problem, but it's a good problem. And you just have to try to navigate through it.
Well, I'm going to get the private jet fueled up, ready to go, get the bathrobe.
Hey, you probably know more people that can get a jet than I do. I'm lucky they don't send me in a Greyhound, make me bus all the way out there. But
they gave me the
whatever
front
it
seat on the
takes.
plane, though.
You know what?
See, there you go.
That was a perk for being the head coach, and I do appreciate
Y'all
that.
got to go through security first. Got
You know?
first option of drinks.
Here's what I think that you need to do. I
Okay.
think you need to be the very last one, right? So you can show the team you're appreciative of them.
I'm feeding off the floor.
Lead by example, and that you just you'll sit in the you'll sit in the bathroom if that's what it takes. You're so loyal.
I saw
program.
when the team ran out there for warm-ups, everybody had their shirts off. I got fired up. I was about to go down there with my shirt on and be like, hey, let's go.
I would appreciate that. Would have been that may have put us over the edge right there. But no, I'd made a big deal about it during the week about I don't want to see a bunch of guys huddling up around each other, complaining about the cold. I said, because that'll be how you play. And my message Friday night was, hey, 80% of how well we play tomorrow is going to be on your attitude, how you approach this.
Right.
And I gave some different examples. Now, I think it was twofold. I think that was part of it, that we harped on it all week about, Look at the NFL. You see the Green Bay Packers out there Thursday night, with no sleeve on, and it was in the 30s and 20s.
And the Bills
right?
last night.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Well, because if you put too many clothes on, you can't move around.
Right. You limit your
right.
mobility.
If you're a ball carrier, if you're a skill guy, and you've got the slicks, tight Under Armour type fit stuff, the ball, just comes right out. Okay, so Coach Saban wouldn't let his skill players wear any sleeve
if it rained or snowed.
Yeah, no, ever.
Really?
Ever. No skill player at Alabama when he was the head coach wore a sleeve. All right. Now, I'm seeing Ty stand on the sideline freezing.
Need to give him some Tiger Balm or something like that.
So, but I don't have that rule. But yeah, it does need to be a cotton something if you're gonna wear it and not the slick. So, but anyway, I go back to that story. So it was only in the 40s. Now it's cold, okay, but it wasn't.
Well, it snowed the night before there.
And I had sent them a video on our group me text of the running back from Boise State, the good player.
Yeah.
Him and a couple of other ones that were at Boise State in pregame without their shirt on in the 20s, okay? And they're out there. So I sent it to them. I'm sure that got a little traction going. And the next thing I know, I see them all walking out there. Because you go out there.
You probably thought, oh, yeah.
Oh, no, I did. I was like, no, okay, they're ready to go.
Yeah.
Okay. No, one, it wasn't too cold.
No,
right?
yeah.
But it was a mindset.
Right.
It was a mindset from the standpoint of, hey, we're here. There's not a whole lot of people in these stands. And it's cold, blustery day. All right. And it just kind of galvanized them a little bit. And then they started playing well. And, and we were able to take care of business.
I think we'll go out there. We'll do that at Montana State. Once I see everybody out there, I'll go down there and I'll
do you some push-ups.
Yeah,
go
exactly.
Out there
I'll come down. I'll do a barrel roll in the end zone. If they got snow in the back of the end zone, I'll toss it up on myself. How about that? We'll get everybody fired up, ready to go. Ready to go. Well, Coach, thanks so much for your time, and good luck here on Saturday.
Appreciate you, bud.
If I quit this season, I still be the greatest.
Skyhawk Sports Talk Podcast is brought to you by Weekly Ford Nissan.
That'll do it for yet another episode of Skyhawk Sports Talk here at Zaxby's in Martin, Tennessee. Big thanks to Jason Simpson, head coach of the UT Martin football team, along with Jaylon, Sharpe, Tevin, Shipp, and Chris Hunter for joining us today. All of our basketball coaches on the road right now, we wish them nothing but the best of luck, and all of our coaches getting some time off, and athletes too. Good luck and get some good rest here as your season about to start up here soon. Again, thank you all so much for tuning in, and for myself, Davis Gregory, say God bless here from Zaxby's in Martin, Tennessee.
If I quit this season, I still be the greatest.
Skyhawk Sports Talk Podcast is brought to you by Weekly Ford Nissan.